Welcome back to Key Roots, the Key Roots of Sex Addiction. My name is Collin, and I was recently talking with an individual in recovery, and he was explaining to me how he was struggling in certain recovery concepts. And I wanted just to let you know that struggling with recovery concepts is very common. For me, as I was going through my own recovery, there were many concepts that I didn't understand. And the way that I understood them was to provide myself with multiple perspectives about the same concept. It provided me a depth of understanding. And one of the concepts that I have found that has been difficult for many people is lust. We've been talking about lust in the last several videos if you've been watching. And so I would like to help deepen this understanding by providing multiple perspectives. So I'm going to go through two definitions. We'll also share opposites of a definition, and then I'll also share signs that you're lusting or you're not. Okay, so one of the definitions of lust is an attitude demanding that a natural instinct serve unnatural desires. So a good example of this is food. Any one of us knows that if you're eating a pizza, 1 or 2 pieces of pizza is probably enough to sustain you for a whole day. But we don't just eat 1 or 2 pieces of pizza. We eat the whole pizza. Why? Because it tastes good. So this example shows you or helps us define this definition. We have a natural instinct to eat when we're hungry. And the right thing to do would be just to eat 2 pieces of pizza and serve and give ourselves the energy we need. But because we utilize pizza to fulfill us emotionally, we continue to eat. Because when we stop, then we have a void and we're left wanting. And so that's why we eat so much. And if we keep eating a lot of food, at least for me, I get sick. Some people gain weight and become unhealthy. Some people become diabetics. And so notice how this natural instinct serves an unnatural desire. Food was never meant to cure your pain. So in that way, it becomes problematic. A definition that I also use, a second definition, is that lust is wanting something that you cannot have and not being okay when you don't have it. So many individuals that I work with, including myself, I remember in my recovery, want sex, and whether if they're not even getting it outside of their marriage or with their significant partner, what'll happen is if they want sex and they're not getting it and their partner turns them down, they become very angry. So that's an example of that particular definition. Now, I'd like to give you an opposite of that definition. It's pretty similar, but there's a really important change here. So here's the opposite of this definition. Lust is wanting something, not getting it, and being okay that you don't get it. So in sex addiction recovery, there's a point in time, or there was a point in time for me, and I'm sure others, where maybe I desired sex, I didn't get it, and yet I was totally fine without it. That is a good representation of when I'm not lusting. So when we dive into these two definitions, one thing that you might notice are two completely different emotional outcomes. When you're not okay getting something that you want, you usually will turn selfish, you'll become dishonest and do dishonest things. You will become angry and fearful. When you are not lusting and you don't get what you want, you can still be selfless. You can be clear-headed and be honest. You won't be angry. You'll be peaceful and content. And same thing, there will be no fear. You'll be confident in whatever you're doing. And so the negative emotions are great signs that you're lusting. When you're content, that's a great sign that you're not. And when you can see all these perspectives that I'm talking about, you start to understand when you're lusting. And that's important in sex addiction because usually what we would say is that it's lust that is the main problem in sex addiction and not necessarily sex. Just like with someone who overeats, the problem is the attitude, not necessarily the food. And if you can identify that lust is the problem, then what we can do is really start working on the issue and make progress. But if you can't define that, you don't know what that looks like in your life, it can be very difficult to make progress in your recovery. Now, here at Key Roots, one of my focuses is to help you gain perspective in your life. And so how I've done that is through my daily work. Now, I haven't talked about dailies in a while, and so let me present these to you. The dailies that I utilize in my life are prayer and meditation, reading, writing, attending at least 3 groups a week, and then making daily phone calls to recovery individuals. Each one of those dailies in and of itself provides me one perspective and then another and then another. And I have constant epiphanies about the same topics over and over, and my understanding really deepens. And that's what has helped me grow in my recovery and gain my sobriety. One of the main focuses in Key Roots are my support groups. And if you're looking to deepen your understanding and perspectives, I invite you to come and see my website, keyroots.com, KIRUTZ.com, and feel free to reach out to me or check out the groups, and I'd be glad to answer any of the questions that you have.